You're saying someone's setting these fires?
Oh, yeah. They don't just happen.
In Oakland, it happens daily and nightly. Flames swallowing tents and RVs. One day in March, 9 separate fires.
See, the sanitary condition is why the fires is happening.
The causes include trash or hazardous materials.
Yep, just motor oil in here.
Cooking equipment or illegal wiring. KTVU found fires exploding from averaging 1 a day in 2019 to now 3 a day across the city.
Something has to be done. We don't have any leadership.
Seneca Scott leads nonprofit Neighbors Together, a West Oakland group demanding the city step up and toughen up.
You cannot have a hands-off approach to homeless encampment management.
A city audit found Oakland was not prepared to handle such a massive project and lacks an effective strategy to deal with growing encampments. During the pandemic, the closures and deep cleaning stopped.
You've allowed these homeless sites to go unchecked, out of control, become fire hazards, become waste hazards.
The audit concluded the city needs better management systems to implement its policy.
Do you think that was the wake-up call for a lot of the city leaders?
Absolutely.
Acting Homelessness Administrator Latonda Simmons says cleanups have increased from roughly 50 a week to 75, but it's a struggle to keep up.
And as they abate those areas, they return next week. Trash has already built back up to the same levels, if not more, exceeding what they had taken away.
How do you get in front of this?
That's a very difficult question.
Because cameras and enforcement are limited, and city policy says encampments can't be cleared or closed without offering housing for those living there. Also, shelter beds are scarce.
That is what is slowing down the momentum of this program, and that is where both the public and I am frustrated.
I really believe that someone is setting those fires.
But neighbors suspect some fires are a convenient cover for crime.
All of a sudden, stolen cars being brought there and set on fire.
Take this charred graveyard underneath highways in West Oakland. Dozens of skeletons of what were once cars, boats, or RVs.
There has absolutely been intentionally set fires in encampments.
The fire department admits arson happens, but says typically they go undetermined, sometimes never even looked into, because no one will talk, mainly out of fear.
It's just not a safe way to live long is to call the police.
Police say this year only 2 reports of car fires near encampments have been associated with a carjacking. Other incidents just lack clear evidence.
These fires are absolutely arson. We have the videos to prove it.
Like this one showing a guy firing a gun at this blue BMW before setting it on fire.
And it's very scary. It's very, very scary. Is the lot next to me going to catch on fire? Is my house going to catch on fire?
Neighbors Together has circulated a petition begging for the city to beef up enforcement, aiming to stop what keeps going up.
All I could do is pray to God to make it better for us, that we could have a decent neighborhood.
The city says it's working with Caltrans to clean up and clear out any abandoned or burned out cars and SUVs. The homeless administrator says housing is the biggest challenge facing the city, and it's going to take several budget cycles to get a handle on all this. The firm is called California Traffic Defenders. It advertises itself as experienced and trustworthy. But the owner and lead attorney, Robert Amperon, has gone missing, leaving behind a long list of unhappy customers.
I was basically scammed.
After 2 traffic tickets in 2 counties, Khaled El Sakor hired help, paying California Traffic Defenders and attorney Robert Amperon flat fees to represent him in court. $450 in hopes of getting the tickets dismissed. Trouble is that San Francisco lawyer never showed up.
Basically, he took the money and just kept the money.
El Sakor had no idea until he got letters in the mail, civil penalties for failing to appear, each one close to $900. So naturally, he had lots of questions about Amperon's business.
I went there in person, many phone calls, many voicemails, No one ever got back to me. Nobody ever returned emails.
I called at least 100 times.
Tori Schwank is another driver who paid the firm hundreds, all to take care of a slew of red light camera tickets he got in Newark for failing to come to a complete stop.
Twice in one night, 3 times in the week, all unmitigatedly delivering food in the service of the community.
While paperwork states Amperon would show up in court on Schwank's behalf, well, he never did.
I was completely reeling because obviously my driver's license is pretty indispensable to me, and it was just obviously an incredibly negligent act of an attorney not to show up in court.
We tried for days. He never returned our calls or emails.
Mr. Amperon, Brooks Jarose, KTVU. We have some questions about your business. Will you open up?
So we showed up at his home.
People want to know why you're not coming to court, sir.
His San Francisco office appearing abandoned. And at the South San Francisco office, a note showing he owes more than $12,000 in rent. His California lawyer's license still active with no current discipline.
He's abandoned the clients. There's nothing worse.
Richard Zitron is a veteran lawyer who has taught legal ethics for decades. He says what should happen is the State Bar of California should step in. But even state audits show it fails to effectively investigate and discipline delinquent attorneys.
The Office of Trial Counsel that's in charge of prosecuting lawyers does a very poor job of being able to do it efficiently, which they do not do, and really going after the big bad guys, the folks who are hurting little people.
The State Bar would not comment on Amperon and turned down our interview requests, but did say it's committed to identifying and remedying any shortcomings in the discipline system and is working actively and diligently to improve the system's effectiveness and fairness.
And the State Bar doesn't have a good way of sorting out the big, important, do-em-right-away things with the ones that can wait for later on adjudication.
Angry clients are blasting Amperon on his business's Yelp page, saying he was accepting money at his offices, then not appearing for their cases.
My court date is coming, and I don't think I'm going to be represented there.
This man lost faith after reading online reviews. He, too, is out hundreds of dollars.
Then I started to connect the dots. You know, all my calls being not responded, all my emails being not responded. Then I realized, yeah, so I fell for this scam.
San Francisco's traffic court has no way of tracking how many times Amperon has no-showed. His office is right across the street from the Hall of Justice. We found nearly a dozen victims who came to California traffic defenders to get out of trouble, only to find a lot more.
And for an attorney to be that dishonest and scandalous under the name of law is just really devastating. It's beyond belief. Like, those are the people you go to for trust.
Come on, Isaac.
Call it routine resistance.
Okay.
No more!
To the computer replacing the classroom. For 8-year-old Isaac Keys, screen burnout and isolation has taken a toll on his mental health.
His behavior now is like we've never seen it. Biting, kicking, flailing, screaming.
Pen!
No, can I have a pen, please?
The last time his parents saw him like this
Stop. I know.
was after their Santa Rosa home burned down in the 2017 wildfires.
Isaac, can you please stop? Please?
Can you stop pushing me?
I don't want you to do that. You can hug me.
Isaac has autism and, like many kids, hasn't thrived academically at home.
The biggest fear for my son is already happening. I mean, he's regressing.
Stressed out students can't learn. And if you have additional learning needs and you're particularly struggling on Zoom, then you might have additional stress.
School psychologist Rebecca Brandstetter coaches parents in children's social and emotional needs.
And you want to help calm their quills.
She says before the pandemic, 1 in 5 kids had a mental health issue or trouble learning. Now,
we're just seeing a lot more. We're seeing a lot more kids who are stressed. We're seeing a lot more children who are struggling with learning.
Data shows depression, anxiety, and thoughts of suicide among young people are all up. The CDC says emergency room visits have spiked too. Psychologists left working at the crisis level.
Our resources were tapped before the pandemic. And so now we have what I've been referring to as a pandemic of social emotional learning needs.
And you break down the 4 by making it 1. Oh my gosh, stop.
Stress is contagious. Mother Sarah Keys is an ER nurse, but says trying to teach her son is even more challenging.
I don't want to fail him, so I can't stop trying. But I don't know how to do it, and I need the help from the people that know how to do it.
That help hasn't come amid the pandemic. In Sonoma County, in-person intervention is limited. There are waiting lists and scarce resources.
The victim is kids like Isaac.
The problem is statewide. Despite California guidance allowing in-person schooling for students with disabilities, many districts just don't do it, and that has forced families to file lawsuits.
We don't have enough attorneys to represent all of the families that call us.
Gabriela Torres is with Disability Rights California. Since last March, the nonprofit has represented hundreds of children with special needs who can't access education or don't have the proper support at home.
I'd say almost every student we represent will get the in-person learning that they require.
Because federal law says students must have equal access to the same opportunities for a free and appropriate education, many districts unable to meet the needs of those with learning disabilities.
So we're really asking them to focus on the individual needs of each student, look at how you can accommodate those needs, and also come up with a plan to help address things like learning loss and not accessing education over the course of a year now.
Case in point, this was Isaac pre-pandemic.
4 plus 6 equals 10.
And now?
I don't care about this homework. This homework is so stupid.
The Keys say they're unable to get answers or opportunities to get their son in a social setting.
It's not about us getting a break. It's not about us being able to do what we do. It's about the fact that he personally really needs one-on-one intervention.
For now, a daily struggle, feeling forgotten.
For as long as we're alive, we'll fight for him, and so that he gets not only what he deserves, but what he needs.
And focusing on the small victories to get by.
Yay!
Oh, that's easy.
High five. Kiss. Can I get a kiss? Yay!
Brooks Jarosz, KTVU Fox 2 News.